it's your girl Monet here, and we are back with another episode of the Bold Fearless Confidence podcast. And today I have an exciting guest for you. I can't wait for you guys to talk to her, to you to, eavesdrop on our discussion a little bit. But of course, if this is your first time here to the podcast, and welcome, friend. Please don't let it be your last time. But if you are a returning OG Bold Fearless Confidence listener, then hey, y'all, welcome back for another thought-provoking, empowering episode that I'm sure you're going to enjoy. And if you love what you hear, then be sure to hit that follow button, hit that subscribe button, and join us so you can come back and hear all the other episodes and be kept up to date on what we're doing in the Bold Fearless Confidence world. Now, with that said, I want to introduce my guest. You see her on screen. I want to introduce you guys to Caroline Millet. Now, Caroline has a very interesting story. We're going to delve into that right here, right now. And so I will give her the floor and ask her to introduce herself to the listening audience.
I'm Caroline. I'm a life coach, and I focus on dating burnout and discouragement. And I'm a former matchmaker. I have a program called the 6 Steps Path, and it helps single people recharge and reset their dating batteries so they can move forward with clarity and intuition, and most of all, know when to take a break and trust themselves to do so. And they're really attuned to their feelings, so they don't have to ask other people if they should dump someone or what they should respond to a text because they know themselves.
They know what to do. Yeah. So guys, like you heard, Caroline is a former matchmaker, but now she deals with clients on a more one-on-one basis where she helps them to determine why they can't seem to be successful in the dating world. So we're going to discuss dating. Okay. So, this is the Bold Fearless Confidence podcast, and we talk about confidence and you empower you to live your best life and step out of your comfort zone. And today we're going to pivot a little bit, not so much pivot, but find a different angle where we talk about getting that confidence and stepping out of your comfort zone and finding that self-empowerment, that self-love enough to go on and date and find the person, attractive person that would be a great fit for you. Caroline's going to help us do that. I'm going to ask a few questions. All right. So I guess my first question is, how did you get started in this field of, former matchmaker, now a dating coach? How did you get started with this?
Yeah. Well, I became a matchmaker. It was one of my dream jobs. I've had a couple dream jobs that I have fulfilled. One was to be a chef. And then after that, it was to be a matchmaker. And I came into it from recruiting. So I was recruiting for sales roles. And the opportunity to grow my region came up with a company. And so I was super excited and I jumped right in. And after a couple of years, they sold to somebody who didn't want to keep continuing in my region, which is honestly understandable because I live in Seattle and it's a notoriously difficult place to date because people are introverted and it rains a lot. So like, where are you going? Where are you going to meet people? What's going on? Right. And matchmaking always comes with an element of date coaching. But while I was a matchmaker, I met with probably at least 1,000 people, sat down with them, talked to them about what they're looking for, what they want, and all these like themes sort of started to come out. And when you're matchmaking, you have this, you're in a contract, you're trying to fulfill the contract, you're trying to work with the client, make them happy, right? And you're spending time in your date coaching, kind of like helping them present themselves and then also dissecting the date. And it's not kind of like the deeper work, right? If they tell you they want something, you have to initially really take it at face value. And I started to really realize like the work that would have helped them the most would have been done before they ever hired me. And then they would be a lot clearer about what they wanted. And then if you want to hire a matchmaker, you're going to have much better results. You're going to know yourself a lot better. So that's what drew me to it. Even in like the darkest times of my life when I've thought, I'm going to be single forever. And what a shame, because there's so much love to give, that I have still always believed in love. And and always wanted people to see their wonderful qualities and the things that they can really share with other people and kind of get out of their own way. So that really drew me to what I do now. But yeah, matchmaking people, I mean, you can really just start on your own. Anyone could do it. The issue is like, how much are you going to spend on marketing? So
Yeah.
yeah, what's your marketing budget, right? But it's a grind and it's a hustle for sure. It's a tough job. It's not all fun and parties and introducing people. It's a lot of work for sure.
Yeah, speaking of parties, I remember there's a show, I forget the matchmaker's name, but she had a show on Bravo or something. She did a whole matchmaking show.
Millionaire.
Millionaire Matchmaker, yeah, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
She made it seem all like this big, I mean, luxurious, cool job to have. Like you meet all these nice, swanky people or whatever. She made it seem so effortless. So
Yeah. No. And her method, and I don't know if the method that was on TV was her true method or just like adjusted for television, because it was pretty surface. But then I'm also like, I don't know. I don't live in California. I don't know what people look for. Like in California, like that's not what I know my area, and I know as far as matchmaking goes, I know my area.
the people in Seattle, yeah.
People in Seattle, and they're their own breed, just like anywhere else.
Anyone else? Okay, fair enough. Fair enough. So I guess, who would you say? I think I know the answer to this, but who would you say would be an ideal client for you and your services?
You know, that would be anyone who still really has this vision of having a supportive and loving relationship in their life, but they feel kind of discouraged or just generally not sure how to progress for whatever reason. I've worked with people in all ages and stages. I have a personal, like, close to my heart for working with Asian American daters and also daters who are divorced, like dating for the first time after divorce, and especially single parent daters. It's a whole other animal. And it's because I've been through it and I built my community that way. So, but I've worked with people all ages, stages, people 20s, 30s, 40s, 50s, 60s. It's
Okay.
yeah.
So that leads to a follow-up question. Is there like you said all ages, is there a preferred, not preferred, but the age limit, the bottom limit, like what's the youngest you would even recommend somebody be able to say, like, you know what, let me get some help, versus going out and testing the water, see what you like, see what you don't like? Like what age would you say would be a good age to start, in your opinion?
I think the youngest I've worked with was 24. And that there's so many benefits to having a toolkit at hand as early as possible to prevent you a lot of heartache later and a lot of struggle, right? Chasing the wrong things, looking for the wrong things, having a view of yourself that maybe isn't that, exactly accurate or fair to yourself. I'm sure, Monet, you've had thoughts about like, if you knew what you knew, would you go back? Right. And yeah, like, oh, if only I knew that then. And so I think that when you're young, there is a real advantage to working with somebody to help you kind of build that toolkit going forward. But I think probably 24 would be the youngest, because I think like it was super productive work. And I've worked with other people in their later 20s, especially if they're in like a community of friends who are all like getting engaged and married, and they're like, wait, I thought we were just working on our careers. What are we doing? Wait, what? When did this all happen? And it kind of surprises them. And I think like my first matchmaking client he was 27 and was definitely in that boat. And one of my first coaching clients in this type of iteration was very, very similar, super focused on their career. And then suddenly a surprise turning around going, wait, next summer, I have how many weddings to go to? When did this happen? What did I miss? What did I forget? Which is like, honestly, nothing. It's fine. Everyone has their own path. It's okay. The marriage age is going up and up and up.
Oh, yeah.
Over the years, which is wonderful. You should get to know yourself really well. But a lot of what I do helps people really get to know themselves well, so they feel more equipped. in that search. But yeah. And older people, I mean, a lot of times it's coming out of a really long relationship. They've been married, maybe they're divorced or they're widowed, and they're kind of looking at the dating landscape and they're super confused and they really don't know where to start. And so just having like a friend along the path to kind of like help them, because, when you're in a relationship for a long time, you really sometimes like it's easy to define yourself against the other person or as like really part of that relationship. Like keeping your own individuality and wholeness throughout a relationship, I think, is the exception more than the rule. And so a lot of times it's like dissecting, like getting to the heart of like, okay, well, like, when was the last time you felt like you knew who you really were on your own 2 feet? Like, let's go there and explore that and see what we can bring forward to now to help you feel like where to look and what you're looking for.
Yeah, because like you said, knowing who you are and having, I guess, a lot of self-awareness, you are in a better space to go and look for somebody else. Because I've had a lot of friends, single friends, of course, with a girl growing up. You have a lot of girlfriends. Some get married early, and then there are others that 20 something, 30 something, and they're dating, can't find anybody, and from what I've seen in my experience, they put a lot of focus on the relationship and the guy or whatever. Like no,
Mhm.
like need to. It's about the other person, yes, but knowing who you are as a person. What do you like? Like, what makes you you, right? And once you figure that out, and it's a lot of inner work, I should say, right?
Mhm.
What I've seen needs to be done to help more successful dating cycle, right?
Yeah, and it's super normal. I mean, like in any situation, but it's really common in dating to like externalize all of it,
Yeah,
right? And to really put the focus on the other person and the situation and things like that. And it's a disempowering way to think about it. It's why my e-course is called It's About You, because when people say it's not about you, it's about me, it's like, what are you supposed to do with that?
exactly.
How is that helpful? How is like this is not like a real statement. And I understand that, at the end of the day, everybody has their vision of how their future is going to look. And if you get rejected, it's just that you're not part of the vision for their life. And that's okay. You have your own vision for your own life. That's all it is. Right. And building that resilience to that experience is super important. But you do that by focusing on what you can control.
Exactly.
So when things happen, you're like, well, I know who I am. I
Exactly.
know what I'm looking for. This just wasn't a match. It's not about them liking me. Like, it's heartbreaking to think about how many people go like, well, do you think I should wear this shirt? Do you think that they would like this? Do you think that they would like this? You know what?
What does it matter? Who cares? Do you like it? Are you comfortable? Do you
Yeah.
feel sexy or whatever? Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
Is this you? Does it make you, how when you put on a shirt, you put on a dress, you're shopping, you're like, this is me.
Oh,
You put something else on, you're like, this is not me.
me.
That's the feeling. You put something on, you go, this is me,
Mm-hmm.
right? This is me, right? This is not me. I'm
Yeah,
I'm gonna feel like a different person if I date this person than
right.
who I am. But you gotta know who you are.
That is true. And the clothing analogy, because you said, you put something on, yeah, this is me. This is so me. Versus not, versus trying to force something that isn't essentially your cup of tea. But you
Mhm.
try to make it just for to say, oh, I'm dating now, or I have a boyfriend or a girlfriend or whatever. Like, no, this is not. And then get so hung up if it doesn't work out, and you like crying for weeks. Like, come on, you knew from the beginning this wasn't for you.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's so tough. I mean, a lot of that you really kind of have to learn the hard way. But when you're repeating
Yeah,
that experience, that's when someone's got to intervene. You need something to come in and break that cycle, because people will repeat
oh
that
yeah,
that process over and over, like finding someone new, and then they change their outfits, they change their activities, they change their friends and things like that. And like, no, in a great relationship, you guys are you're merging, right?
Yeah.
You're like, you're taking your friends group are mingling, like things are but you're still yourself and you're still wearing the clothes you like and that, express you. And it doesn't matter if the other thing like looks nice, but if it's not you.
Exactly. And I just wish more people would, as you're listening, if you're listening and this applies to you, don't say anything, just internalize it. Take notes and do better next time.
Yeah. I mean, that's all you can do, right? Is just move forward, try to learn, take your time to recover when things don't go the way you want, but you have to take your learnings and you need to execute on them.
Yes, for sure. Definitely.
Mm-hmm.
So I guess from your coaching program and what you teach your clients, confidence is big on what I preach. Not preach, but it's my brand, right? I'm big on confidence and stepping out of your comfort zone and just taking a leap of faith sometimes.
Mm-hmm.
So what areas do you coach your clients on as far as putting their best foot forward? So we talk about self-love and knowing yourself, but what other areas do you focus with your clients on so they can present a strong presence for whoever they're trying to date? And is confidence a part of that list of things that you kind of coach them on to present into the dating world?
Yeah. I mean, as I've mentioned, I mean, the kind of coaching I do is focused so inward. And while we certainly will, depending on the client, touch on how they're showing up for dates, I've had male clients say like, oh, I went on the date and then she showed up and she looked a lot more dressed up than I was. And I was like, hey, what are you going to do about it?
Yeah.
Like, how are you showing up? And then we have to, but like, I mean, I'm trying to do God's work here. Okay. But while we can totally touch on how people like show up and how they express themselves, but if we do the inner work on your personal alignment towards your goals, that kind of coaching becomes a lot less necessary because like they'll know themselves enough and they'll understand what they offer and how to identify what they're looking for so they won't need help like dissecting like how they should show up, right? Because they'll trust themselves.
Yeah.
And in my like one-on-one coaching, I have like at the end, it's like 4 sessions that people can schedule later for touch-ins, especially like if they start dating again, right? Because usually you take a break when you're working with me. And then if they start dating again or whenever they start dating again, they can do those check-ins so we can make sure that they're like staying on track. But if you know who you are and you're showing up and the point is to learn, that's the point when you go on a date. It's to learn. It's not to get something. It's not to be transactional, right? And I know a lot of times it is, but it shouldn't be. It should be, I would like to get to know this person. And if you kind of set this goal for yourself, like, oh, I'm just going to learn something new. And you think, instead of, I wonder if I'll have a good time, you should be thinking, I know I'll have a good time because I'm there.
That part, exactly. You are the thermostat, not the thermometer. Like you set the atmosphere, right?
I love that. Exactly. People were always like, why do you like, even when I've had times where I was like, maybe I'll never meet someone. If I went on a date, I still had a good time. It just wasn't the right person. And so I was like, well, I have fun, and then maybe they would say like, do you want to go out again? I had a really good time. And I'm thinking like, well, yeah, but like, that's the thing I do. Like I could do this all day, right? Like that's the thing I do. It's not unique to you.
Oops. Yeah, you probably won't.
I'm glad you had a good time.
It was great meeting you.
Yeah. But you should be able to like, yeah, exactly. You are the thermostat, not the thermometer. I love that. I'm going to write that one down for sure.
You can have it.
Thank you.
Yes. So, but I was going to say, I've been on dates too where, child, I've done all the things. Okay? In the past.
Tell me about your dates. I want to hear about it.
Oh, Lord. I've done the apps, a few of the apps, the swipe left, swipe right, all that stuff. I've been there. I
Mhm.
in a long-term relationship some years ago in college. Lasted about 5 years, on and off about 5 years. And afterwards, after I was like, you know what, I'm done with this. I guess during that time too, I was in the process of still trying to figure out who I was, what I wanted, and what I was expecting from a relationship from somebody else. So after I got essentially got my heart broken, not in a tragic way, but still, right? I was like, I'm done with this. And I took time I kind of took a sabbatical, really. I took some time. I'm like, it's just going to be me, myself, and I'm going to learn who I am, date myself, right? And learn who I am, heal, grow, and figure out what I want to do. And actually, yeah. So the once I felt like I was kind of like, okay, I'm ready now, I started going on the dating apps because I live in a big city-ish, but I don't know, the pickings were slim. So I said, well, let me try the apps. So I met people on there that seemed to gel online, but of course in person is always a whole different experience.
Mhm.
It's like, okay, you meet people and from the jump, from you meet them in person, you feel the energy, you see how they carry themselves, and it's like, this is not going to be. But me being a nice person that I am, like, okay, I'll stay on the date. I'll make it make sense for me.
Mhm.
Yeah. So I stayed there, and like you said, we had a good time. I made the most of it. We made the most of it, and again, I just never went on a second date. So you can have a good time. You can go on a date and make the most of that day. You meet people. You never know who you'll meet. You never know what stories you'll learn. People from different cultures. So I always tell people, be open to who you date and don't just be stuck to one box or one persona of, one character, I should say, right? One type of person. So I know a lot of people in if I should say this, but like I hear a lot of African American women say, "Oh, I only stick to African American men. That's it. I'm dating anybody else." And I'm like, "Girl, what? You better get out there and explore because you never know who you'll meet. So just be open to that." So what are your thoughts on that too?
Yeah, I mean, I think, when people talk about their type, I'm always like, well, your type's not working for you, or
That part.
you would still be dating, right? If your type worked for you. And the thing is that how did you even develop that type? What did you decide? And there's a lot of like early dating experiences that just inform people forever, and they just like never break out of it. And that's one of them, right? Like they had a good experience. That was like the first type of person they were attracted to. And I think that, so first of all, I love that. Like, I mean, and I've heard a lot of people say, oh, if I'm not having a good time, like I will just leave the date. And I'm like, unless the other person does something egregious, you should have your own personal integrity around how you treat people. That
Exactly.
doesn't cause you to do, why would you do that? Right. But anyway, a lot of people, I think at a basic level, misunderstand attraction.
Mm.
And so they really focus on, and I understand that you kind of like, you have to be physically attracted to somebody, but like, I know for a lot of women, and men are lucky about this, is that like attraction grows.
Yeah.
As you get to know someone, they treat you really well, you start to view them differently. And it takes a while to to build that kind of like trust and that view of that person, and to understand them in a way that you start to view them differently. And so that's why you don't ever want to like move really fast, right? You don't want to move too fast because it takes a long time to get to know someone. It takes a long time to build trust. And I would say that if, like, say you're on an app or your friend's fixing you up and you learn some things about this person, if the person's like on your scale of like 1 to 10, 1 being hell no, 10 being hell yes, right? If someone's past like a 5 or a 6 on your scale, go.
Do it. Yeah.
Just go. And to your point, you have to be open. Like I've never had to type. It's bizarre. I've never had to type. And what that also meant was that I learned a lot.
Same. Same. Yep. Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know. I've dated people from, of course, different races, different cultures, and it's like, be like, you dating Indian? Yeah, why not? Oh, you dated this or that? Like, why not? And I've learned so much, and you become culturally knowledgeable, I guess, on different things. And so now somebody asks you, oh, how do you know about this? Yeah, I know a little bit about that, and you become well-rounded as a person.
Yep.
I'm the same way. And I had the time. As long as we clicked, we gel, we good conversation. Hey, let's go. Get something to eat at least. Let's go.
Yeah. Yeah. And the other thing that I always get really upset about is people will say like, oh, I'd never go on a coffee date. I'm like, why not?
Yeah, I've heard that. That is so weird.
Why not? Why wouldn't you want to like sort of pre-meet someone before you give up like a precious Friday night or something? Like
Right.
for me, especially when I was dating as a single parent, my weekends were precious because I only had every other that I could do something. And then during the week I was like working and I was going to school and I was really busy and I was parenting and I, couldn't do it. So if somebody wants my Friday night, it's got to be worth it. Like I got to know that I want to go and that's how I want to spend my time, because what's as attractive to me on a Friday night at that point, my sofa.
Listen.
So like calling to me. So
Oh,
if
yeah.
you want to get me out I'm tired, you want to get me out, I need to know that I'm going to want to go. So I would rather spend 20, 30 minutes chatting with you over coffee, which I could do with a coworker I don't like.
Right. Exactly.
Because I have to, right?
Yeah.
Like, might as well.
Yeah.
And you get a coffee. You're going to get a coffee anyway. Okay, you'll get a coffee.
You get a coffee. You save time. Like you said, time is precious. You save time because God forbid you go on a 2-hour date or a expensive dinner, and you really don't gel with this person. You guys don't have a good conversation. That was like, you're like, why am I here? It's a waste of my time. I could be doing something else. Instead, you go on a quick, like you said, 30-minute coffee break, and you would know, I won't be seeing you on Friday. That's it.
Yeah. And people say like, oh, well, you can walk out of any date. And I'm like, well, I'm not a jerk.
Rude. Yeah, that was very rude.
So I know I'm not going to do that because I'm not a jerk.
Yeah.
Like, unless someone really deserves it, I'm going to stay.
Yeah. It's just a matter of being courtesy. I mean, common courtesy.
It's a common courtesy. Like, we don't have to, it's so like, please, ladies, take your power. Absolutely. 100%. But like,
Yeah.
getting up and walking out just because you're like, you find out something where you're like, I don't think that's going to be super compatible, but the person's otherwise fine.
Yeah.
That's so rude. That's so rude. It's not creating a better dating culture overall. It's making everything feel super transactional, really judgmental. And, you're allowed to judge people for things that are under their control, right? When you're looking for compatibility and things like that, you can be like, okay, well, these are like choices you make. These are things you control. They're not going to work for me. That's, but, and guys say to me all the time, well, what do I do if I'm not from a rich family and I'm not 6 feet tall and stuff like that? And I'm like, women who want that if you're getting rejected for those reasons all the time, you are shallow because you were chasing the wrong women.
Exactly.
So that says more about you than about them.
Exactly.
Like, look for different women, because most women do not care about that.
Listen, that's 100% true. You say, oh, I want, what do they say, the 3 6s, 6 feet, 6 figures, all these things.
Yeah.
Like, come on.
No.
This
is like, you can grow together.
Yeah.
You could grow your income together. Exactly. Because you're in a good supportive relationship. And when you have a really, really great relationship, it lifts up every other part of your life, your career very notably, right? Your earning potential notably. When you're in the wrong relationship, it drags down every point of your life. And that's why it's really important to get it right.
Yeah. Because I mean, you hear so many stories of like married couples or people that have been dating or whatever for a long time. And they tell you like, oh, when I met her, she's working at a grocery store or she's working at like a Starbucks. When I met him, he was broke. He didn't have any money. But you see them and they're like killing the game, whatever field they're in. They're like real estate very successful and whatever, entrepreneurs and doing all these things very successful because they build together. Because sometimes you need that energy, that push, that encouragement from your significant other that can kind of empower you to get to those places, those levels of success that you may have gotten by yourself. Right?
Mm-hmm.
If you get there by yourself, God bless you. That's amazing. But some people can. So don't dismiss or disqualify, which I know a lot of women do. Disqualify men because, oh, he's broke. Oh, I make more money than him. That's so shallow to me.
Yeah, I mean, like, do you want a business partner or do you want someone who like wants to hear about your day and rubs your feet when it's been a rough day? Like, what do you, and I worked with a lot of like very high achieving women when I was matchmaking, and the list that they would come to me with was often, it sounded like they wanted to start a company with somebody. And I was like, do you want, and he's like, is it the boardroom or the bedroom? Like, what are you really looking for here? Because it can't be both. And the thing is that usually, I mean, and this is like awful, but like a lot of times really like high achieving men do not want women who they feel in competition with, which we can say a lot about. We can go on and on about why that's crappy and everything, but that's just how it is. And as a matchmaker, you learn to like just take it at face value and go, I'm going to meet you where you are. And we're going to see how we can progress your thinking within the context of this process. But they don't want that. They don't want to feel in competition. And so that's not usually what they're looking for.
Mm-hmm. That's a fact. And that's a huge debate online all the time. Oh, like huge debate. Human source again.
I know so many things here are like, this is an episode all in itself. This is a whole discussion. This is a whole other thing. I need a research paper about this topic because it's kind of weird. But, getting them to kind of like think about like, I don't want to think about who you are as what you've achieved or, the money you make or the things you have or whatever. Like, who are you as a person? What are your like actual emotional needs? And, what kind of like values and behaviors could a partner express? And what can you offer to them in that context? Because it's not, it's not a networking event, right? Like this isn't, it's not meant to be transactional. It just isn't.
Yep. And you'll be surprised, like men, especially some men that don't make six figures, but they make, they're comfortable, they're good within themselves. And you on your side, you're thinking, oh, he just wants my money. Oh, he wants to mooch off of me. And like, I'm nobody's sugar mama. But at the same time, if you get to talk to that guy and I know that guy, he doesn't want your money. Quite frankly, oh, he'll take you on dates. No, keep your money. I'm good. Let's go. I'm paying today, right? Mm-hmm. And at the same time, like, if you're out doing all the things, you probably have a stressful job, right? You high achieving, so you're busy. You're a busy chick. But he can start dinner. He can do all these other things, things that you take for granted that be like, man, I didn't know I needed this, but now that I got it, like I'm living my best life. So never discount or never belittle the fact that, oh, we're not quote unquote equal as far as income is concerned. That's yes, money's important, but if he's comfortable, if he's doing his thing, girl, listen, get your life, okay?
Well, yeah, and like anything can happen.
Exactly.
Anything can happen in your life. You could meet someone who makes a ton of money and then they lose it all. You could have no money and then like something wonderful, you make a good, just like something swings back and then you could lose it all again. Like, this is not, again, these are like things that are like they're like, at that point, they're out of your control, right? Or you're just at the mercy of the market or whatever's going on. You don't know. You get laid off. People get laid off. I mean, look at the last 2 years. That's all that's happened. And people who were making a lot of money getting laid off. And you have no idea. So if you want to really partner someone truly, you're there for all of it and you're open to what could happen. And you trust that you have the foundation to get through it together.
Exactly. Because if you build your relationship, your marriage or whatever on the fact that, oh, we make a lot of money, he does, I do, we do together, and somebody loses their job, now what? That's your foundation, and your foundation is crumbling. Now what? What do? Do you jump ship? So it definitely needs to be more than that. So
Yeah, I've known a lot of people who got divorced after being married, and their marriage, sort of the foundation of it was, what is our purchasing power together?
Oh, wow. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's
And
not.
then one of them got laid off and they ended up divorced. Like,
Yeah,
this is not a foundation for a that's
no,
not,
not sturdy or stable enough.
no.
Things happen. Oh my gosh. All right. So, oh man, this is a good conversation.
I can do this all day.
Oh man, okay. So let's see. What are some red flags that someone that's single and dating, right, should look out for as it relates to somebody worth investing their time or or their efforts in? And what are some green flags? I guess we know a few green flags, but what are those red flags they can kind of pay attention and look out for? In your
Yeah, so I think that first of all, I think that a lot of people talk about red flags when they're just a misalignment.
mm,
Right? And they'll just say like, "Oh, is this a red flag?" And it's like, "Well, it sounds like you guys just have different ideas about this, and you have to decide how important that is."
mm,
Right? So, I mean, first of all, sadly, on the apps, it's way more men than women. But I think if you actually break it down, how many of those men are actually single and looking for a relationship is a pretty small percentage. And overall, success on the apps for men finding a long term relationship is like 75%. And for
mm,
women, it's like 66, which is not terrible, but it's easier for men on the apps
yeah,
because a lot of the women who are on there are like engaging sincerely, whereas a lot of men who are on there are like
for fun, really.
they have an at hand activity they can do to like get attention. And I'm
Yep.
not saying women don't do that too. They absolutely do. But I think a lot of men are, not genuinely single or genuinely looking for something serious. Like, so it's kind of like looking for someone who's over 6 feet tall. It's like fewer than 15% of men on earth are over 6 feet tall.
True.
So go like, how many are single? How many are in your age bracket? How many live near you? How many are you like someone they would be interested in? Like you need to check yourself, on that. But I think, when I think about red flags, it's something that is absolutely like it would be actually harmful,
Mm,
right? So, and also anytime like it really crosses one of your boundaries.
okay. Yeah.
And so that's back to knowing yourself enough to know like what that boundary is. And so I think, when you talk about this a lot too, and I think that at the heart of it, we all just need to get into our bodies a lot more. And I'm going off on a tangent for sure here, but it's related. I'll circle back. I'm a female communicator. We circle around. So you've talked about this a lot, and it's like knowing your feelings well enough to know when something is right for you or when it isn't. And we override that all the time. Those feelings are your instincts, and your instincts are your subconscious, and your subconscious is made to protect you.
Mm,
And so sometimes you need to rewire it because it's overacting, right? And you do this through meditation, hypnosis, and journaling and things like that, and affirmations. That's how you rewrite your subconscious. But when you have those feelings, like it, and in your head, you're like overriding it, right? And you hear that, like you've heard dating stories and you've probably told dating stories, about, oh, well, he did this, but it's okay because, it's actually, he's just really busy at work and he's just so stressed out right now. Like that's you're trying to override it in your brain. And the more you do that, the quieter your intuition gets, the quieter that voice gets. It's harder to listen to. You have to do these constant check-ins and go like, what am I feeling in my body right now? And you don't have to name it. You just have to go like, does this feel right? Does this feel good? You know if it feels right or not. And then whenever possible, you need to obey that feeling to the whatever capacity you can, right? Sometimes you can't, sometimes you have to override things because stuff's got to get done. But like when you're at work and you really want to like roll your eyes at somebody, but you can't because you're at work, so you got to control it. But everything in you wants to, call them out, but you can't. So, okay, those are times where we override it. But in any other circumstance where you got to listen to it and you got to feel it, go, okay, that's not right for me. Right? Those are your red flags. And I can't make the rule for, there is no like rule for everybody. It's like, obviously, if the person's lying, right? Which is another reason why it's important to not be cynical, because cynicism makes it harder to recognize a liar because you think everyone's lying.
True.
So you're not looking for signs anymore. So it's important to like try to not become cynical. And I work on this too. But when I think of green flags, I think it's healthier. It's better for you in the long run to be looking for something rather than trying to avoid something. And everyone has like that list that they make. I mean, and if you haven't, you should make one, about the things that you're looking for in a potential partner. And they should be things that are under that person's control, not like 6 feet tall, right?
Know that.
Yeah. Brown hair. Who cares? Like, who cares what color's hair? What? Okay. But make that list based on things you're looking for and not things you're trying to avoid. And keep that in the forefront of your mind. Because if you're looking for values alignment expressed in their life in a way that is similar to yours, right? Because just saying like family is important to me those are just words, right? Words are cheap.
Facts.
Anyone can say anything. That's why you don't want to take it too fast, because you want to watch their words align with their actions so you can build trust.
Yes.
And when they say like family is important to me, like for you, that might mean like you're a caretaker to, a parent or a relative or something like that. To them, it might mean that they are there on Thanksgiving and they enjoy their time with their family. That's very different. That's a very different way of expressing a value of family being important to you. So I think looking for values alignment expressed to the level that you are looking for, and goals that you are working towards, they don't have to be the same goals, but that you both seem like committed to working towards, because it's very hard to be partnered with somebody who, isn't kind of approaching life the same way, because it becomes this like push pull after a while, right? And if you're like very quick to execute on something, it's okay if the other person is slower to execute on something, but if they never do, and they're just full of dreams and ideas and they never do, that's a challenging relationship to be in. Or when you have a plan, the other person tries to like tell you how to do it and you're wanting to do it your own way, that's a tough dynamic to live with. So I think looking for like those really base things, right? And you, at the end, it's simple, right? You both feel the same way about each other. You want the same things, and you see that together.
Yes. That's good. That's good. I like that. And alignment is very important, especially in relationships. So I'm glad that you spoke on that, because that's paramount, really. I talk about those goals. I don't think people think about, okay, what's my goals versus the other person's goals, right? If they aren't aligned, like you just mentioned, it's a point of contention. You can butt heads all the time because somebody wants to have, say, you know what, I want to build a business, build a 7-figure business, 8-figure business, whatever. I want to have a global business, right? And the other person just wants to sit at home and have a picket fence and, a couple of kids, a cat, a dog, and all the things. That doesn't align. It's going to be a source of arguments or somebody feeling some kind of way because you're doing one thing versus what they want to do. So alignment is huge for me.
Yeah. Alignment in how you both define success.
Yeah.
And just in life, right? How you define your own happiness and satisfaction in your life. And you don't have to, my partner has been at the same job for 9 years. right? Not the same job, but the same company for 9 years. And he's very like routine, and I'm Vietnamese. Like we kind of I can be disciplined, I can be focused, I can be structured, but I also roll on vibes. Like and we're very different, but it's a nice compliment. It's a nice yin and yang because I very, very clearly feel the foundation of him in the relationship. And it gives me a place to land.
Yes.
And when he needs like a little, hey, here's the thing for you, right? Like if he's feeling a little like not seeing a way outside of like the way that he's worked for a really long time, and he tells me about it, I'm like, well, in one of the jobs I've had, we did it like this because I've just been a lot more roles, a lot more like places, and I've had a lot more functions. And so he it's like a night, it's like that's the compliment, right? It doesn't have to be the same, but complementing in a way and having a shared goal. We were like, okay, well, this is what we're going to do. We're going to save up money and we're going to buy a house.
Yes.
And like, we agree, this is the timeline. That's what we'll do. And then we did it.
We're towards it. So yeah, that's huge. I know people talk about alignment, like spiritual alignment and stuff, but it's also huge in relationships for relational success. Let's say that, right?
Yeah. And you need to align yourself to your own goals. So, when someone's path is going to make sense for you.
Yes. And that comes back to where we started, knowing who you are and what you want.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
Once you know what you want and you know where you're going, and somebody comes into your life or tries to come into your life that doesn't align with that, you're like, sorry, no, it's not going to work because I'm trying to do this and you are totally different from that. And that doesn't waste your time.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, think about like, I don't know if you watch The Bachelor at all.
Yeah, I used to. Yeah.
You should watch The Golden Bachelorette.
Okay.
I mean, it just wrapped, but
Sure, I can find the episode or something online.
It's on Hulu.
Oh, Hulu. Okay. Yeah.
Man, that's a feel-good season.
Really?
You'll cry. It's so sweet. But the Golden Bachelor, like they broke up because like you're settled in your life. You're not going to move. You got your kids, your grandkids.
Yeah.
You're not moving, right? These are paths that don't connect. These are not intersecting paths. It's not going to work. It doesn't matter how you feel about each other. It's kind of like with single parents, like you could have the love of your, like the perfect partner. And if they're on opposite parenting weekends, you will, it's not going to happen. Look elsewhere. Like it's so difficult. I don't know how anybody's ever done it. And I know people have somehow figured it out. I cannot even imagine how.
People make a way for what they want, right?
Yeah. I think it's impossible. In my world, it's impossible. You wouldn't do it. You're like, yeah, you could be perfect for me. We're on opposite parenting weekends.
Sorry. Yeah.
Yeah. I'll never see you again. Goodbye. We won't even run into each other at Chuck E. Cheese or whatever. We were not even run into just we are opposite weekends.
Right, exactly. I'll never no. Oh my gosh. All right. So how can someone approach dating more confidently when they face repeated disappointments?
Yeah, I mean, listen, this is the heart of it, right? You get kind of beaten down and you get discouraged, and that's kind of where I would like to meet you.
Yeah.
I mean, first of all, you have to love yourself, and people talk about it all the time. And so loving yourself, like self-love and self-care get interchanged a lot. Self-care is what you do to show yourself you love yourself. Mm-hmm. So that's, you can interchange them, but they're not really the same because self-love is the goal, right? Mm-hmm. And I know sometimes it's really tough to figure out how to love yourself. I have a free guide on my website about how to love yourself more and how to like embrace yourself. And what's really funny is the most downloaded one on my site. It's not even about dating. It's just about loving yourself. But it's like a nice little reference for reminders. But anything to do another thing to do is you really want to like focus on like growing and deepening other relationships that you have, with your friends, with your family, with your community. The more comfortable you get in showing up as your authentic self and kind of like being vulnerable in like growing those relationships and then being loved that way and just loving other people in your life, the less like those letdowns and discouragements in datings will really affect you on your dating journey. You'll just be like, yeah, their path, my path, not the same path. I'm just not what they're looking for. And that's fine. They have their own vision. I have my own vision. So you get a lot more resilient and you're just not going to let that impact you as much. And because you're not trying to please them, you're working on building your own future. So if you don't go into it thinking like, I need someone else's approval or I need to please somebody else, then getting those disappointments, they're just, again, learning. You're going to move on. You're going to go, oh, well, yeah, we went out, but like it didn't work. Like, when I was dating in my 40s, do you know how many men I met who like were so nice? Like they were so sweet. I have no bad things to say about them, but they wanted kids or more kids. And I was like, no, like I have closed shop on that. That left when I turned 40. Like I was like, once I turned 40, I was like, nope. If I don't meet someone by the time I'm 40, I'm not having another kid. That's it. And it's, you just go, okay, yeah, we're not on the same path.
And that's okay.
Yeah. I think you're going to meet the right person. I think you will.
Yeah.
It's not me.
And that takes growth, and that takes, again, knowing who you are and what you want. So you can be like, you know what, you're a nice guy, you're a great guy, but you're not for me. You're going to find someone to be happy. And I'm fine with that too.
Yeah.
Fuck,
Yeah. So good to meet you.
Exactly. Instead of taking it personally, internalizing it like, okay, well, I'm going to find anybody. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. So it's just really like accepting your vision and really accepting that other people have their own vision. And you not meeting their vision has nothing actually to do with you.
Yep.
It's about them. So yeah, you'll get more clear on your own path. And so when you go on that date, you're just trying to decide, do I want to know more? Is there a possibility of our paths aligning? And if you leave that date thinking like, I would like to know more, and there maybe there is a possibility, then you go out again. By day 3 or 4, you should have a good idea about where you want to go from there. But if you keep wanting to know more and you keep thinking like, yeah, these paths might walk next to each other, okay, then you keep going. But by day 3 or 4, you should have a good idea.
Exactly.
And I don't like to give hard like numbers or rules on anything, but I think that that's pretty fair.
Yeah. I feel like people know by the second or third day, like you kind of know. Like second day, you kind of have a hunch, and by the third day, okay, for sure, this is or isn't where I need to be.
Yeah.
For sure. All right. Good advice, information. Guys, I hope you're listening. Yeah, taking notes. All right. So do you have any advice as it relates to managing expectations as people are dating, especially in a world where social media can relate those, of course, ultra unrealistic expectations?
Yeah, I think social media and media overall is kind of terrible for dating because people are more likely to share and remember bad stories.
Yeah.
And so I think learning from others and their experiences is like so important, but our brains are wired to remember the bad more than the good. And it's to protect you, but can become a spiral of negativity. And if you're referring to like appearances, I think the media in general has set people up to prioritize, that over anything else. And also, I mean, just think about like everyone getting lip filler.
Oh my God.
Like everybody. And
Yeah.
listen, I come blessed with, I don't, like
Yeah.
you're blessed, I'm blessed. So I'm not going to judge like somebody having a feeling insecure about something and wanting to do something. But I do think that, being like 19 and getting lip filler and, this is not a great way to tell a woman or a person to accept themselves. You need to understand that other people's lives, their journeys are their own, and that it doesn't, you need to really believe in what you bring to the table and what you're capable of showing someone in partnership, right? Like you need to believe in it, even if you haven't really had the opportunity to do it that like the way you want to or much yet. You need to really believe in yourself. And a nice way to do it would be to ask people who love you unconditionally to tell you what they love about you and give you real experiences of ways you've expressed that, tell you stories about like things you've done, because people will tell me like, oh, you said this thing and I've always remembered it. And I'm like, I don't remember saying it. Sounds like me. Don't remember saying it, right? You remember things done to you more than things you've done. And other people remember things you've done. So it's a nice place to start if you're thinking about how you expect other people to show up, is that how you show up.
That's good.
And make sure that that's on par, because I mean, think of all the TV shows where it's a married couple.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, how did they even meet? How did they even start dating? Why does she love him?
Oh, yes. I see the real TV.
Yeah. And it's so confusing. And it sets up this like idea that, one person exists and then the other person actively loves them.
Yeah.
And that's not really how it works for a real lasting relationship. Like you're both showing up as whole people. And so I think with social media, like I think what's more damaging with it is the maximalism, is the like, I'm going to go stay at this extravagant resort. I'm going to eat these extravagant meals and things like that. And like and even like maybe that's what a date looks like. And like, I think the best date is like a walk.
Quite spending time. Yes.
Yeah. Just talking, and also not having like that pressure to like stare at each other while you talk.
Correct. Yeah. The awkward. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, think about like nobody ever teaches you how to date. They just expect you to know. And here's this thing that's going to lead to the most important thing that could define your life, right? In every aspect. And you're being set off to do it without any real guidance. And you're supposed to just sort of know how to do it. And so everyone develops their own rules and their ways of doing it because they want a guide. They want rules. They want to know what to expect. It'll make it easier. So they set up their own. The other person doesn't know that. The other person on the date doesn't know what those expectations are. And so imagine that like you're sitting down, nobody has the same expectations or rules about what's going to happen besides, oh, where are you from? What do you do? And then they sit down at a table and just stare at each other. But this is nonsense. I mean, really think about it. It's nonsense. How are you supposed to actually progress well when you are set up in that situation? So I think like when you just go on a walk, like you meet for coffee first, you just go on a walk, it takes a lot of pressure off of that.
Yep.
And there are other things to like help you focus on like what you're hearing and what it feels like to be in that person's space rather than just staring at their face, interrogating them, which is, I think, a lot of people's experience on dating and when they're dating is getting interrogated.
Oh yeah. Been there. Been there. Just ask her and just get riddling off the questions. Like, okay, are we on an interview? Like, what's happening? Yeah, because you need something to talk about, so it's like the questions. And I think people think that's how they need to do it because it's a get to know you. I feel like they think that this is how I get to know you. I ask you 1,001 questions. But if there was that guidance, and you're right, nobody teaches you how to date. From a teenager, you kind of just figure it out. You learn from your friends, you learn from each other, and you just take that into adulthood and you just wing it, really. And that
Yeah.
can be that's not a solid pathway.
Yeah. I mean, you can go on any platform and be like, oh, I need advice on how to interview.
Yeah.
Well, you might interview for a job, you might get the job, you might have the job for 6 months.
Yeah.
Like, you're looking most people are looking for something longer than that.
For
And
sure.
if you are, like, why is there no real guideline on how to do it? Do you know how many clients I have who I like, okay, let's talk me through like what happens when you go on a date? Like, what are things you talk about? Like, what are ways that you kind of structure it in your head? And they'll say, well, I really want to know how she'll handle conflict. So I'll bring up like a controversial topic. And I'm like, on a first date? And I
Mm.
was like, hey, here's how a woman receives that.
Yeah, no, you do
Not great.
too much too soon.
Yeah. Let's not do that. I understand that, you'll learn that naturally. You'll
Yeah,
learn because also storytelling,
yeah, for sure.
right? Sharing stories, sharing things you're excited about, sharing things you enjoy, sharing things that are positive, that you've learned, that are funny. That's a way better thing to do than to interrogate someone or to bring something up just to see how they'll react. I mean, we're just trolling people in person now.
Wow, that's true. Oh my gosh. Yeah, I mean, because from what I found out, but I'm no longer dating, almost 10 years now. But from what I found out that in the beginning, we just kind of did casual outings. That like you said, just get in each other's space and you can see how they interact with you, how they interact with other people,
Mhm.
so restricted to like you just the stare down, right? And I feel like the more casual it is, the better you can get to see somebody in their authentic life because they don't feel the need to be pretentious or the need to put on the show to quote unquote impress you. You
Mhm.
see them in their natural habitat, and that gives you a good idea on who the person may really be.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, show up as your best self,
Yeah,
but as yourself.
yeah, seriously.
And also, like, when you're going on a date or when you're meeting new people, be willing to be surprised.
Oh yeah, yep.
Like, be willing to, like, be pleasantly surprised, and the only way you do that is by, like, going off type, by, letting one thing pique your interest. I mean, the reason I went out with my partner, I was like, "I bet this guy's too cool for me, like, I don't know." I don't know if we'll have anything in common, but man, that is a nice smile.
Oh yeah.
I was like, "I really like his smile, so, I'm interested." And he just kept surprising me
Oh,
and being so considerate and, under like, just really delivering everything I really needed as far as, like, communication and consistency and feeling, like, secure and safe and, like, I could trust him, and he always is just, like, who he is, and I remember on our first date, at one point, he told a story that was kind of, like, embarrassing, but it was a very universal one, and I was like, I'd been in the exact same position, which, uh, like, shared emotions, really bond people, and so we're both, like, as we're talking about, like, feeling that embarrassment together,
oh,
and I was like, "That's so funny," and he said, "Oh, I'm really transparent," and I was like, "Thank you.
that's a great thing. Yeah.
I need that so much. I need transparency so much. It makes me feel safe."
Yes.
Because I'll be super transparent with people I trust,
Yeah, for sure.
and I was willing to be surprised. I just went like, "Okay, let's see who he is. Let's see what's going on." And he kept showing me who he was, and it was just one wonderful surprise after another.
That is so awesome. And look, if you didn't give him a chance or didn't think that, oh, he won't be interested in me or you won't be compatible, you never would have gotten to the one that you are now.
Yeah, I was like, look at all those tattoos. He looks so cool. I bet I'm not cool enough for him.
It's all about being open because you never know. You just never know. Yep. And you may miss out on a soulmate or whatever because the best person for you because you like, oh, he's not my type.
Yeah, I mean, love of my life. And like, he never wanted kids, and he's an awesome stepdad.
Oh, that's awesome.
He's such a good stepdad, and he totally like completed my family. I could go on and on. I love him so much. And I just feel like I want everyone to have this.
Yeah, I know, right? It's a great feeling. It's like, where have you been all my life?
Yeah, I want everyone to be like, oh, this is home. This is home. Still surprising, but it feels comfortable. It feels like we are family. We're already a family. It was easy. It was simple.
Gosh.
I wasn't like bending myself into a pretzel to make it work. It just was laid out. I told the universe, give me someone nearby who doesn't want kids, who's ready.
Wow. And the universe answered.
I'm telling you, within weeks.
Seriously.
And that wasn't the first time that's happened to me. So I know that like when you are very clear,
yes,
but not so narrow.
Yeah.
You can get it.
You can get what you desire for sure.
Oh, yes. Yes.
And that's
I could list a book about all the times I've been able to do that. So I know it's possible.
That's awesome. Like knowing what you want, journal it, write it down, speak it out, but being clear on what you want. And again, that goes back to knowing yourself.
Yes.
So it all ties in. Like it really all ties in.
Yes.
I love that. I love that. Oh, well, I guess this is a good segue into our last question. So what do you think are the biggest myths about dating and finding quote unquote the one that keep most people stuck?
I think there are several, but I think a super, super common thing is comparing love. As in like you have some experience that felt like true love. Mm-hmm. And then if you meet someone else and you don't feel that exact same thing again, you think it's not love. But in reality, every person, have you been in love more than once?
Me, yes.
Did it feel the same both times?
No.
Every person's different, right? So if every person's different, and as you grow and you learn, you change, right? That means every relationship is going to have a different dynamic. And so every love is going to feel different. And there was a thing going around TikTok about first love theory. And it was about like guys like very young having this intense experience of love. And then that's what they chase forever because they're like, that's the feeling. And they're not willing to accept that it might feel different. So they could date someone for a long time and be like, but it doesn't feel like that thing. And it's like, a lot of these intense love experience that people chase, like they happen really early in life when things are less complicated and your emotional regulation is already scarce due to whatever stage of development you have. Or they happen when you're going through something really tough, like a rebound or a loss. So your emotions are already primed for some kind of really intense experience. Or they happen with someone who's actively trying to manipulate you, like love bombing you to attach them to an intense experience. So you stay with them and then allow them to abuse you or do whatever it is that they're planning to do. I mean, that's not lasting love. And that's not the way, like, the only way romantic love feels. So I think like opening yourself up to all the ways love may feel and not comparing your experience of love to another one is like a really, really important way to change this outlook. I always think of it as like, I love chocolate.
Okay.
I love chocolate. I love dark chocolate. I love salted caramel chocolate. I love almonds with chocolate. I have raspberries with chocolate, mint chocolate, coconut, whatever. They are all chocolate and I love them all. But they are all different. And one is not more chocolate than the other.
That's
They're
good.
all still chocolate and I still love them. And so you just think of it that way. It's variations on a theme, but don't walk around carrying like some intense experience, because here's the thing, that didn't last.
Mhm. Yep. Exactly. Because if it did, exactly.
You would be there, and those really intense experiences don't last.
Yeah.
You hear people say it all the time. Like, I know what real love feels like. This isn't it. And I'm like, and I'm not saying like you might be in love and not know it. Be open to different ways love appears and shows up and how you receive it, because you're also going to express it different ways to other people. So just be open to that, and not defining it as one experience, because even every experience you have of sadness is not the same.
Right.
Every experience you have of anger is not the same. Disappointment, those are different too. And nothing is ever one thing.
Yeah, like we're human, we're not robots, so we adapt to different people, different experiences, different parameters, so you respond differently.
Yeah. So, there's even like, how many emojis are there for happiness or sadness? Like there's a million for one technical thing, right? It's the same thing with love.
Yep, exactly.
Yeah.
So be adaptable. You can have I guess desires, but don't come with expectations, or rather don't put your expectations on somebody else, and it has to fit into this or else, come with a mind of, okay, this is a whole new person, like I said, whole new parameters, they have a whole new set of experiences that you can learn from, that shapes them and who they are. So you can't expect them to be like the previous. Like, why would you want them to be like the previous? Because like you said, that didn't work out anyway.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
Yeah.
It's going to feel different. And the thing that you're looking for, or I mean, usually if you're working with me, the thing that you're looking for is something that lasts. Yeah. And that intensity, it doesn't last. It ebbs and flows, and you're going to have times. Like the other day, I was just thinking about my partner, and I was thinking about when I've given him, because he's German and he really likes licorice, and German licorice is different from like black licorice here. Like it's a different type, a little more intense. And I was thinking about last year, I ordered it and it only came in like these massive bags. Like it was okay. And I was thinking about giving it to him, and I was thinking about how fast he went through those. Like I was like, did you eat already? Like how fast and how generally reserved he is, but how he got the candy. It was like, just so happy to have the candy. And I was filled with this like swell of love for him, in that, like, it just overcame me. And I don't live in that state, right? We have other things to do. We have life to live. We're intentionally, actively partnering each other, right? And supporting each other, but we're definitely like, we have our own stuff going on. And so I don't like live in this state of euphoric love for him all the time, because honestly, it's not functional.
Isn't
the love is a fact, right? It's just a fact. And it's here. I'm going to show it whenever I can. I'm going to allow myself to receive it whenever I can. But that overwhelming feeling of love for him, like those here and there, those come here and there. But I can't be feeling that way all the time, because I couldn't do anything else. I was just like, oh, like I love him so much. He's so cute. I know that feels good, but it's not how it lasts. It's not.
And it's not, you're not even practical for every day, because
no, I got other stuff to do.
That's it. Oh my gosh, that is awesome. That is awesome.
You know what I mean? I mean, you've been married a long time, and you're like, yeah, like
I love you to pieces, but at the end of the day, I'm doing work right now, so I'll see you.
I'm not like swimming in this love for you feeling, like I can't. It's
gotta work. I gotta, record my and I still love you, but I'll see you when I'm done, because
I'll see you at dinner.
I'll see you later. So like being realistic, about your expectations and everything too. Like, come on, people, think about these things before you go pursuing them, right?
Yeah, and I would say that if it's very intense very early on, man, beware.
Mm,
Beware.
yeah,
You're looking a slow burn is so much better.
because there's not much more room to build on that. So yeah, you're right.
Yeah, there's
Right.
the only way is down. It almost always goes down because the person who if that's happening to you, right? Then the other person's love bombing you and they're doing it with a goal.
Mm.
And it's not your happiness long term unless it serves them.
Oh, that's something.
So if you're chasing that euphoric love feeling that you had the first time you were in love, you'll never find it again. It will not happen again. And if it does, beware.
Wow. I never thought about it like that, but yeah, that's true. That is true.
But you're right. If it's like that, the only way it goes down.
So beware.
I'd rather have it build over time. You talk to anyone who's been with someone for 50 years, happy. You ask them, they'll say I love them more now than I did even 10 years ago, even 15 years. I love them more now.
Definitely bills for sure.
That's the goal.
Exactly. So you guys, you heard her. You heard it from the expert. So I forgot to take notes, like I said. And Caroline, oh man, this has been such a wow conversation. I enjoyed my conversation. I enjoyed our time together.
I had so much fun. I love talking to you. You're such a light and you have so much energy, and the whole concept of, boldly, fearlessly moving through the world is it's really the only way to do it. Sure. You got one life.
That part, yes. If you can't be scared your whole life, because you will never ever you never get anywhere. You never be fulfilled. You won't make proper connections with people. And yeah, you can't be scared to live in this box and step out of your comfort zone and go and pursue. Try things, right?
Try things. You're allowed. You're allowed to reinvent yourself. You're allowed to try things. You're allowed to take a risk. You're allowed to fail. You're allowed to learn. It's fine. Just do it. It's not high school.
That part.
Nobody's if people are watching you, judging you for trying and sticking your neck out, who cares what they think?
And the reason why they're judging you and trying you because they haven't done it themselves.
They're not doing it.
They'll be there encouraging you, like, girl, go ahead, or go ahead. Like, I've done this too. They're still stuck in their box. So don't allow, prevent that for you. That is so true.
100%. Yeah. I mean, and finding love, you're going to have to stick your neck out. You're going to have to take risks.
You do.
But you have to decide that it's worth it to you.
Yeah, for sure. For sure. That's such a good closing point. Oh my gosh. Thank you so much for this conversation. I learned a lot. I'm going to go back and listen to this too when it's all said and done. Do you have any, I guess you have any closing thoughts, and also within that, tell the people where they can find you, and what's next if they want to reach out to you for your services, say, all the good things.
Yeah. So I have a few things. So I have a free Facebook group for dating support. It's called the Dating Burnout Support Group. My URL is the 6stepspath.com. And on my website, I have a bunch of free guides. I have my e-course, and you can book a free meeting with me to talk about, one-on-one coaching to see if that's something that's going to fit for you. For your audience, I'll offer 25% off one-on-one coaching, and the code will be BFC. So if you put that in, you'll get 25% off one-on-one coaching. The program is 10 sessions.
Oh, nice.
So we spend a lot of time. We go through everything that you kind of got going on. And then, like I said, those other 4 sessions you can use as, check-ins later. When you feel like, if you feel like you're straying, you feel like you need to work on something else came up, whatever, we can work on those. But it's a super fun process, especially one-on-one, because I'm really it's going to be all about you. It's about you, all about you.
and making sure you become the version of you that can find and attract what your heart desires in a spouse or in somebody else. I love that. I love. And thank you for the code, guys. You get 25% off code BFC. So, social media, or is it just go to your website?
Oh my gosh, I'm on TikTok and Instagram. It's CHM 6 Steps.
Okay.
I have a Substack. You can find that on my website. And yeah, that's so all the main ones.
She's on everything. That just for clarification, is it the number 6 or the word 6?
The number 6.
Number 6. All right. Yeah. So guys, go and follow. If you listen to this and you say, you know what, I need that in my life, I need help. If you're feeling burnt out and you're feeling not confident, you're not sure in yourself, and if your picker is just off, okay? Because let's be honest, some of y'all's pickers is all the way off. So let Caroline help you. This is what she does. She's not new to this. She's true to this, and she can get you what you need and get 25% off. Like, why not? I know I love a good, cute little coupon and a little discount. Okay, so go get your discount. Use the code BFC and get the help that you deserve. Your future will thank you for it. All right. So that's we've come to the end of another episode of the Bold Fellas Confidence Podcast. If you've loved what you heard, please don't be afraid to drop a like, follow the podcast, and of course, leave a review. Let us know what you thought of the episode. Let us know what you thought of all the tips that Caroline offered, and share it on your social media. Share with your friend. Tell a friend to tell another friend what you're doing on the podcast. Okay. We try to do an episode every other week that encourages you to live your bold, fearless, confident life. So until next time, remember to live your life uniquely, live your life unapologetically, but most importantly, you need to live fearlessly. That is all for now, and I'll talk to you guys soon. Take care. Caroline, thank you so much.
Thank you.